Hello, I'm Camilo Saraiva. I'm the Director of Medical and Assistance Services at Divers Alert Network, and I'm here with Dr. Doug Ebersole. He's a cardiologist at Watson Clinic in Lakeland, Florida, and a longtime contributor for DAN. Welcome, Dr. Ebersole.
Oh, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here, sir. So, Dr. Ebersole, let me start by asking you, as I mentioned to our viewers, you are a long-standing contributor of DAN, and I know you are a DAN member too, right?
Over 25 years.
Oh, just that?
Just that.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. And as a diver, what can you tell us about your story in diving? Anything interesting? How do you came to the sport?
I'm one of the, older guard. So I came to the sport because of an interest with Jacques Cousteau back in those days. Mm-hmm. So I got certified back in 1974 nice. Through an agency that doesn't exist anymore, NASDS. Uh-huh. And dove, that was in high school, and dove through high school and most of college. In medical school, went to medical school. College was an undergrad at Duke, so in Durham, so headquarters
local,
for
DAN. Yeah.
Medical school in Miami, dove a little bit, but medical school was a little busy, as was my subsequent internship, residency, fellowship, marriage, kids, all that for about 10 years. So the military paid for my medical school, so I ended up in San Antonio, Texas for 10 years with my wife and our kids, nice. And came back to Florida in 1996 and then got actively back into diving. My wife got certified in 2000 after a snorkeling trip to Aruba when she decided she was not a very good snorkeler and would rather scuba dive. And then subsequently over the next couple of years, we got both of our children certified. So I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world with both my wife and our kids. Nice. I became an instructor, recreational instructor initially in like 2001 or so. Technical diving 2002, rebreathers about 2003. Started teaching rebreathers in 2005. And currently, I teach about 8 different rebreathers, and I'm certified through CCR trimix instructor trainer and a CCR cave instructor. So nice. Kind of a whole wide variety of things. Okay. And I certified my father to dive when he was 79 because he wanted to go diving with his grandkids.
Amazing.
So yeah, he was always very active. He and I used to windsurf together. So he wanted to get certified so he could dive with his grandkids. So he got certified at 79. And we took him on a couple dive trips with us to the Bahamas. And one of my most cherished photographs is a picture I took that has him, my wife, and our 2 kids when they were like 12 and 16 altogether, because he's no longer with us. But I'm
sorry for that.
Yeah, but it was a joy of his life for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, now you mentioned your wife. My wife is a colleague too. Mm-hmm. But she's very picky. She's a diver, of course, but she's very picky on diving. So I can never get her to the quarries, the local quarries.
I know.
But every time we go to Egypt or Maldives or whatever, she's diving.
It sounds like your wife is like mine. We say my wife is an 80-80-80 diver, which means the air temperature has to be at least 80, the water temperature has to be at least 80, and has to be at least 80 foot of visibility. And it's not 2 out of 3. Yeah. So I do about 200 dives a year. She does about 50 dives a year.
Yeah, no, my wife probably does 5 a year.
Okay.
Most it's just when we travel. She never dives local. No, and it's funny, right? And when we love, we have this passion for the sport as we do, right? All of us, and we bring our loved ones to the diving as you did with your father. It's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing this story. And as we mentioned, you are a DAN member, right? Long-standing DAN member. One thing that is interesting to us is to give everyone the perspective of the interviewees on why they are DAN members and why they think it's important to be a DAN member. We have the new slogan of every diver should be a member, right? So what do you think about that?
I agree entirely. Everyone, in fact, I tell everyone they should join DAN. The initial easy answer is because of accident insurance. That's the easy answer, because I have my opinion in the dive industry. We have somewhat vilified decompression illness. And it seems to be like, oh, if someone got bent, quote, they must have done something wrong, which is not the case at all.
Yeah,
I tell people that we should consider it a sports injury. Just like if LeBron James turns his ankle playing basketball tonight, you're not going to say he's a bad basketball player, right?
Exactly.
You play enough basketball, you turn your ankle.
Yeah.
You scuba dive enough, you've got a high likelihood of getting bent at some point in your career. And that can be an extremely expensive undertaking if you don't have DAN insurance. So luckily, I've never been bent yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if it happens this year, next year, the following, because I dive a lot. So the easy answer is simply everyone should be a DAN member for that. I mean, the cost of membership covers that. But DAN does so much more. I mean, all of the research, all of the education, and you've got all the other things, the travel assist and all those sorts of things. But mainly, it's just the whole picture. There are other competitors out there that offer, quote, insurance, but they don't have anything like what DAN has to offer when it comes to education, when it comes to research, when it comes to making guidelines, when it comes to continuing medical education for physicians, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're part of our faculty for this, so you know how it works and what we do. And I think it's key, right? It's to give back to the diving market.
Absolutely.
So every penny we make, we put it back to the diving market. We do research, we do the medical assistance. Most people don't know, but a lot of people that call us, they're not members until they call us, and we assist them the same way. We help them get to a good doctor like yourself. We help them get the right treatment that they need at that time, or direct them to the right medical facility that they need at that time of urgency, right? And this is something that we love to do. We do day in, day out for every diver. You don't need to be a member with us to use the medical services. But of course, when we do that, we are supported by our memberships. We're supported by the insurance we sell. All this revenue generating activities. Right. Keep the lights on and keep us doing this. And I usually say to people, I like to say that we're doing this service. We started there at Duke with a magic on a phone line, on a telephone, on the mezzanine of the chamber in 1980, and we never stopped that until today. So not a lot of companies can say that they are doing providing a service for 44 years, non-stop, 24/7.
That's exactly right.
It's amazing. And part of what we do can only be possible because of professionals like you, sir. We can refer people to our network of physicians. We have, for instance, you are our reference for cardiology, right? The specialty. We have several different specialists that we direct people for, either for a referral or to consult for another physician on the specialty, right? To consult with another cardiologist about a diving-related issue. So this is something that we really appreciate. Thank you for all this that you do for our members. And what did you have to say about that? How did you came to this?
First of all, I want to emphasize, this is it's a volunteer thing, so it's not like people's money is going to pay me
for sure,
or the other 700 or whatever physicians you guys have.
Yeah.
We do this for our love of diving. One of my philosophies in life is that privilege comes with responsibility. So I am fortunate enough to have the privilege to be a physician, the privilege to be a diver. And I think, to me, the responsibility that comes with that is to try and give back. And the easy way for me to give back is to try to marry those two areas of expertise. Like I mentioned, I've been diving for a very long time. I've been a cardiologist for a very long time. And the way it kind of came about that I got hooked up with DAN in a more professional capacity as opposed to being just a member was in the early 2000s when patent foramen ovale was just kind of coming to the forefront of divers' minds and the relationship of that to decompression sickness. I started getting lots of questions from friends, colleagues at the dive site about what this means, what do we do, all that sort of thing. And there wasn't a lot of data at that time. So literally at EDEMA, and actually EDEMA here in New Orleans, I met up with Petar Denoble, who used to be the head of research years ago, and at the booth, and I told him we need to talk. I need to come up with an idea. So we literally met at the hotel bar for drinks after the end of the show, and on a couple of cocktail napkins, came up with an idea of how to study decompression sickness and PFO.
Wow.
And we did the 5-year prospective trial. Obviously, we could not randomize. We'd have the funding for that, but we did a registry with a 5-year prospective follow-up showing that in people who had decompression sickness and had a large PFO, that their incidence was reduced with PFO closure compared to people who just dove conservatively. And again, there's lots of bias. It's a relatively small study, but we got it published in Diving and Hyperbaric Medicine, and that was kind of what launched me into becoming a consultant for DAN and doing some diving medicine research and so forth, which we've kind of continued to do through the years.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I mentioned in another podcast recently, it's so nice to see how we have this ability to attract very intelligent and capable people like you to do these things with us. And as you said, you are a volunteer. You never made a penny from DAN. And it's something that is so rewarding to see from our side too, right? We're helping the divers, and we are getting the best people in the world to help us in our mission. So this is amazing for us.
Yeah, like I told you before, I get, in fact, I was joking yesterday morning as I got out of bed getting ready to come to DEMA, I had 3 emails that I had to quickly answer about things from DAN before getting to the meeting yesterday morning. What I personally do is some things I have to actually see people. A lot of this, though, is just questions that I can answer over the phone, or I can answer via an email, or I can call a consulting physician, talk to them. And for all those things, I basically tell people, if what I told you or my advice or my recommendations, if you found that helpful, please just give a donation to DAN. And that's kind of how I work it. I've been working that way for close to 20 years, I guess.
Yeah. And I thank you for that. I used to do that. I mentioned to you in our conversation the other day. So when I was in Brazil, I'm originally from Brazil, and I had my Hyperbaric Chambers in Brazil. We used, me and my business partners there, we used to at least give discounts, if not the full consultation for free, for DAN members for fitness to dive.
That's
exams. Great. So it was something that I had many times. I had in my waiting room. I had people joining DAN just to get the discount.
Tell the nurse, give me 5 more minutes. I got to fill in a little bit of paperwork.
Yeah. So it's nice to see, and it's nice to see that even because those divers, they were just doing that for the discount. Afterwards, they would come in following years to renew their physical exams, and they were so proud to be part of DAN, right? I think this is something that we always see, right? For us working and for the divers, everyone is proud to be part, to be connected, to participate in some way, shape, or form of DAN. Absolutely. And what we do, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. Sir, thank you for all the things that you do for us. Thank you for this amazing story that you shared with us. The 2, in fact, right? About certifying your father at 79. 79, right? 79.
And then actually, have you heard of Weeki Wachee in Florida?
No.
A quick little follow-up thing on that. So Weeki Wachee is an amusement. Well, it's a venue for entertainment. That their claim to fame is the Weeki Wachee Mermaids. It's in a Florida spring, and they're dressed as mermaids, and they just want to do little shows and so forth. I used to do some underwater photography work for them. Well, interestingly, in 1950, so this is when my parents got married. One of the places they went on their honeymoon, there was no Disney World. They went to was Weeki Wachee in 1950. When my father was 80, I took him back to Weeki Wachee, and we dove with the mermaids at age 80. And I got a photograph of him holding one of the mermaids that made the front page of our paper at home. And the joke was he went home and told my mother that she was catch and release. So.
Amazing. Now, this type of moments that diving allow us to have, right? It's a good part of the reason that we do what we do, right?
Absolutely.
It's amazing new world underwater, and we love to be there. So, Dr. Ebersole, you told us about your association with DAN, right? But apart from DAN, there's any other association that you are able to join this two passions, diving and science, diving and medicine? So what do you...
Yeah, the two other ones that I've been involved with would be the Undersea Hyperbaric Medical Society, UHMS, which I think we mentioned a little bit earlier, who does a lot of work in collaboration with DAN. They also have, they have a website. They make recommendations, usually in conjunction with DAN. They also run CME courses for physicians. I'm actually technically hyperbaric trained. I don't do hyperbaric medicine, but I'm a member of UHMS, and I've spoken at their meetings and so forth, and gone to the meetings, which are outstanding. The other one that's interesting is the South Pacific Underwater Medical Society, SPUMS, which is mainly for the South Pacific. They are the publishers of Diving and Hyperbaric Medicine. That's kind of their publication, which is an excellent journal as well. So I'm a reviewer for them, and I've gone to their meetings and so forth as well. So there's lots of places around the world. Dan, in my opinion, is kind of the one leading the charge when it comes to, because you've got the insurance and the education and the research, but there's other organizations as well. So UHMS, SPUMS are both outstanding organizations, outstanding for divers to investigate and see kind of what other information they can get.
Yeah, and outstanding sources of knowledge too,
absolutely.
Right? We always refer divers to them. We always refer colleagues to them when we're doing our consultations, right? One thing that I used to say to the divers when they ask, oh, but this or that, and we say, yeah, that's that sometimes we like to collaborate with other specialties to get a better response for the divers, because none of us know everything about every specialty, or
Absolutely.
We wouldn't need the specialties, right? We have more than 40 different medical specialties exactly for that, so we can go deeper on the smaller section of the knowledge that we're specialized on, right? When we associate
with other people,
two specialists, we get the better results, right?
Unrelated to diving medicine, I was at a meeting about a year ago, continuing medical education for doctors, and it was the title of the meeting was Breaking Down Silos, which was exactly that.
Yeah,
so we had people from a variety of different medical specialties all talking about what's latest in their specialty, because again, obviously I stay up on cardiology. I don't know anything about the newest biologics and rheumatology. Okay,
exactly,
so and the same sort of thing happens with Dan and with UHMS, with SPUMS. Everyone has their own information, and sharing that information just makes it safer and better for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's something that we're always trying to do, and to bring people like you to dive medicine and specialties that we sometimes don't have any reference. We're always trying to search for them. We're always trying to recruit
absolutely
for our lines.
So along those lines, if there are any physicians out here listening that would like to be a part of DAN, please contact Dan.
Do so. Yeah,
we'd love to have the larger the network of physicians, the better.
Yeah, for sure. We have an enrollment form on our website, but you can get in contact with the medical department, and we'll guide you through the steps to be part of the network. Yeah, we have roughly 700 to 800
right.
Physicians on the database today in the U.S. A few others around the world, and we're definitely always looking for bright minds.
That sounds like a lot,
join.
But I'm sure on a day-to-day basis that's nowhere near enough.
No, we have spaces that we get people asking for referrals. And we look in our database and we say, you know what? The closest to you is 150 miles. The closest to you is 200 miles from the zip code you're providing us. So we're always looking for that. We do some heat maps of where we have the physicians and where we have the requests for. And then we try to match these maps and see the areas that we have to get someone on the phone, trying to talk to them and get information for the physicians in the area. So
excellent.
It's a good job. And sometimes we get some diamonds like you.
No, I don't know about that. But we do what we can. Definitely do what we can.
Yeah, no, helps us a lot. Thank you for that. So, Dr. Ebersole, you are from Florida, right?
Exactly.
You live and work there, dive there a lot. We know I was mentioning we have some heat maps, and we are always tracking where we get calls and where people are diving, and unfortunately sometimes having their accidents. And Florida is a big destination for diving, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of diving
biggest.
happening there. And one thing that we're always being questioned is about the chambers, right? So, oh yeah, several hyperbaric chambers in Florida, and I'm covered, right? So,
yeah,
what do you say about that?
Unfortunately,
yeah,
there are lots of hyperbaric chambers in Florida.
yeah,
But there are not very many that will take divers. And the concern, and Dan knows this, physicians know this, but the general diving public is not really aware of that, I don't think, because they think of the fact, well, there's a chamber, I have a problem, I'm just going to the closest chamber.
Yeah.
The issue with hyperbaric chambers is staffing. It's a business like anything else. So they're usually the run-of-the-mill hyperbaric chambers taking care of things like diabetic, foot ulcers, wound care, that sort of thing, and are staffed Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or whatever. So they're not staffed for weekends when most people are diving. They're not staffed for after hours when somebody comes up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and all of a sudden at 6 o'clock notices they're having problems and need to go to a chamber. And the reason for that, because a lot of divers, are saying, well, this isn't fair. Why can't they do this and so forth and so on? It's all money. I mean, if you're going to staff a chamber for divers, then they need to be available 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
And people don't do that for free. You have to have doctors on call. You have to have staff members on call. You have to be able to bump somebody if you've got an emergency, and all that costs money. And thankfully, there's not that many dive injuries. If this was happening to people every day, they could probably justify staffing themselves 24/7. But if you take a chamber that may see a diving accident a few times a year or even once a month, they can't financially justify being open 24/7, 365. Exactly. So that limits our chambers. We have several in Florida at various locations, but as an example, Jenny Springs, very common site for cave diving, probably one of the biggest training sites for cave diving in the world, if not at least in North America. It's right outside of Gainesville, Florida, which is where the University of Florida is. You would think they'd have a chamber. They do have a chamber, but they don't take divers. Again, for those exact reasons. So if you were to get bent in that location, you get sent usually either to Valdosta, Georgia, or to Orlando, because that's the closest chamber. Yeah. So divers need to be aware of these things. And just because they're diving in a particular city, and they say, well, I'm in a big city, it's going to have a close chamber. It may not. And that's kind of why we always recommend first going to the closest emergency department, be evaluated. They will then call Dan, and if this is a diving emergency, because not everything happens underwater is a diving emergency or a diving accident. If it's appropriate to get to a chamber, then let Dan tell you where the closest one that's taking divers at this particular day. I had a friend of mine, it was in South Florida on Labor Day. It's actually on Labor Day. And he got bent. I was teaching a class. He was just tagging along as one of the divers on the boat, and coming back to shore, he couldn't move his right leg. So, people are like, well, let's go to the closest hospital. I said, no, we need to call Dan and see who's taking divers on this day. And we found out where the closest place was. We got him on some oxygen. We got him, pumping some fluids on the way there. Told him to eat some power bars because it's going to be 6 hours before you eat anything again. And luckily he did very, very well. We got him to the closest chamber. He was by oxygen, surface level oxygen and fluids, was doing pretty well. He was able to walk into the emergency department. He got a single table 6 treatment, was discharged the next morning after hitting on the night nurses, typical kind of Marine, and did very, very well. But again, it's important to realize that just because there's a chamber doesn't mean they can take care of you 24/7.
Yeah. And you mentioned that, I think it's interesting to say, we have a database of chambers that we're probably about 1,400 chambers around the globe in a database, and we classify them. We have a proprietary classification for them, and we're based on availability and capabilities.
Right.
Because it's another thing that we always have to wait, right? If the person has a specific set of symptoms, or it's even diagnosed by a local physician taking care of the person in hand, because we cannot do that over the phone, right? We cannot diagnose. It's not even legal for us to do so. What we do is recommendations based on information they are providing us, or based on the already diagnosed condition by the local physician. And sometimes we have to match the type of DCS or the type of problems that this person is having with the capabilities of the chamber. So that's why we have to check first for availability, and then what are the capabilities. So a more serious case that needs to have a type of assistance that they need to be inside a hospital with ICU as backup, able to treat a patient with a ventilator, intubated in a ventilator support. So we have to match all of this, and this is something that we do on the medical department 24/7.
Right, very good point. Like it may be the safest thing maybe to skip over one or two chambers that take divers because of that specific accident. So again, another reason, get to a hospital first, contact Dan, let them help you with, and help the physicians taking care of you decide where the best place to go for you is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's our everyday struggle in the medical department. We have to help people to become someone else's patients. So take them to their local medical assistance first, and then from there we can figure out what is the best course of action. Right,
like you said, Dan doesn't diagnose, Dan doesn't treat.
Exactly.
Dan recommends and helps advise the local physicians take care of the diver.
Yeah. So again, thank you for your time here with us. Is there any final message that you want to share with us, or
I would just say thank you to you and to everyone at DAN for the outstanding job they do to keep all of us safe, whether it comes to answering the phone 24/7, where it comes to printing guidelines, where it comes to research, when it comes to education, just everything you do, exemplifies every diver should be a member.
Thank you for that, and know that we can only do that because of people like you that associate with us. So
thank you very
much. The power we have is the power of the network. Is in the name, right?
Absolutely.
It's a network. So yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I hope to have another talk of this with you soon, and we'll continue to see on the congresses, UHMS meetings, and the CMEs that we put for the physicians.
Absolutely. And come to Florida. Let's go diving.
Thank you so much. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.